All right, what is going on, guys? Back today, and we are in the garage. I have a bunch of stuff to do on this thing, and I am super pumped to get after them. There's so much cool little things I'm changing on this car, and I hope these little changes will kind of be the stepping stones into a big ET gain on the car. I'm fingers crossed. I got some ideas. I'm very hopeful, and let's get to it. So, super awesome first step is these guys right here. They may not look like a whole lot to you, but they are front end travel limiters. You guys may know I used to be running a chain like this. I'm already working on the driver's side so I can show you guys. The chain, you would tighten it, and then when the car goes to like kind of go into a wheelie, it keeps the front end from drooping, and then the car doesn't try to keep rising. So the goal is with these is to keep wheelies down and to make forward momentum instead of upward momentum. That's how my brain sees it, at least. Maybe I'm a little incorrect. Maybe you shouldn't take advice from me, but they've always worked really well. I've always kept them super tight, but as you can see, like, look at that hole. It's all wallowed out. So the plan is to replace them. So I called up my friends over at UPR, and they supply me with all the things for the Mustang. They make these for a Mustang, but they're universal, so we're just gonna weld them in. And these ones are really cool because you can see they're adjustable like this. So when you go to wheelie, it goes like that. Let me change the pin because that's full tight. So, you know, you go like this, and it's a tube in a tube. So you go to leave, and it goes boop, and then it hits that and stops. So you can adjust it very easily as you need to. You know, if you want a little bit of separation, but then, you know, when you hit a bump, it goes boom, and still actually allows you to bounce around a little. So working on welding that in right now, seeing how that's gonna look, and I am super pumped about that. And then next, this one's very funny. So right here, it's called a Biondo 00 button. You guys saw I was not doing so hot on the tree at TX2K. I already talked about that, whatever, yada, yada, yada. My buddy Jim, with the white Mustang that I raced with, he ended up winning our class. He said on the way home, he was like, hey, I ordered you something. He ordered me a new button. So this is the button. It's this gigantic, like, very, very short travel button, very huge and easy to use. This is what a lot of the people use, and they're adjustable, so you can adjust it right there. If you want less throw, you can just tighten it or loosen it however you want, and it's a really nice unit. So mount on the steering wheel, and it'll still kind of work just the same way. Travel limiters in the front, button, and then what we're doing in the back is I ordered a new rear gear, so I'm gonna try to make it a little more aggressive. We're going from a 355 to a 370, so that should help spice up the leave a little bit. And then also I'm gonna do a bar angle adjustment in the back to see if we can get it to bite a little harder and just, you know, maybe separate a little bit more at a little angle. So the bar right now in the back is kind of like this, and I want to kind of lower it a little bit. I'm gonna go down to my last hole, and we'll see what that does. So the gear will be here soon, hopefully, and we can get that rolling because we have the reunion race in like a week. It's April 20th, so it's really soon. So gonna get to work on all this, make sure that this car is ready to freaking rip. I am pumped to race it. Home track, racing it again. I'm so pumped, so can't wait. Gonna get this all rolling here soon and see what we can do. All right, no more little baby button. Now the big button is in there. What size is that thing? Unit. So pretty simple install, just 2 wires. Not very difficult at all, and we're good to go. So installed, tested in about 5 minutes maybe. Super simple. So I'm excited to try out this new button, but time to keep working on the front end limiter. All right, well, the first one is on. Look at that. So adjustable, you just pull it out. It's on an angle, which should not affect it at all. I just tested all of the throw, and it's fine, full droop. This is very close to full compression. we shouldn't have a ton more compression. I don't think that they'll ever bottom out, especially with where it's at and everything there. So should be good. Time to do the other side. Looks freaking awesome. And this thing came in the mail. Oh man, so Quick Performance. Those guys got me set up with a new gear set. Look at that thing. So awesome. We'll show it a little more in a little bit. All right, Sketchy's here. He's hanging out while we get some work done. Well, he's supervising.
I'm watching you work.
Yeah.
I did grab some pans and whatnot for you.
That's true. He's on pan duty. So I finished up the front travel limiter there. Just put some black paint on there because I don't really care. And I didn't want it to rust. So finish up the travel limiters. And now I'm working on the rear differential, pulling out the third member. Got to take the drive shaft off. I already took both axles out, inspected them. They look awesome. So axles are both out, good to go. Now I just have to pull the drive shaft off, pull the third member out, and then check fit this one. This one's a little beefier. Hopefully it fits. Most rear ends don't have a torque arm like this. That's my only worry. It's the torque arm fitting, but it should be fine. I don't know if I'm gonna have to pull it off to get it in. I'd rather not, so we'll see. But drive shaft out and off. Hopefully the transmission don't leak too much, and then we can do that. And then last step will be to lower this bar right here. So you'll see that soon enough. All right, I just pulled out the strange deal here, and this one, it looks so much less aggressive. Like, just every part of it looks less beefy than this one. Like, look at how thick the surface is on this one. Completely different. Look at this bolt compared to this one. The yoke compared to this yoke. And then when you come around the back, the bolts here, the whole midsection spool here, just every part of this one is just more beefy and serious looking. And it's just kind of comparing and making sure that they're all the same size and everything, that my drive shaft will just go in. But man, super serious. So this one had RTV on it, and I don't know if I should RTV it again or do the gasket that they're doing, that they came with. Just trying to figure it out here, but super pumped about this. Huge shout out to Quick Performance. They got me this thing very quick, no pun intended. Gasket and all, Quick Performance. Those guys are awesome. And shout out to James Tall for connecting me with them. But ready to put this thing in now. Gotta do some stretching because she ain't light. I think they're both like 70 pounds, 75 pounds each. So heavy units, heavier than they look. So there's my Midwest chassis 9-inch. I had to take the upper arm off to get it out, but it is studded. So super nice. Just gotta scrape some gasket off and then get this thing in there. Shouldn't be too bad. All right, the new gear set is in, the third member, and this thing is super nice. So pumped for this. So time to check the drive shaft. I did RTV. Beautiful job, if I do say so myself. And now I'm just working on getting the brakes back on. Got the first axle in, put the brakes back on, and then we are good to go over here. Couple more things to button up, but this is a super straightforward install. I've never had this gearing apart, but feeling pretty confident with this thing. So let's get this thing rolling here. As you can see, I'm pretty deep into it. Mess all over the place. Mess all over the place. Toolbox covered. Workbench covered. Bad deal. Okay, next step is this right here. So I had it on this hole for a while. We did I've raced it the last 2 years on this hole. When I first started, I was on this hole, but that was when we first put the 2J in. So finally taking the plunge to move it down. It's not that big of a move, but it should be pretty significant for bite. So a little more bite, different converter, different rear gear, different front end travel limiters, different trans brake button. I have done a lot on this thing in this last video, and I'm pretty pumped to go out and test it. It still does not have a fuel pump. Waiting on that to come in from, what is it? MagnaFuel has that, and move both down, and this should be good to go. I can go test it. I just got to pull this off and go to grab mine off of Chip, so I can just take Chip's and run it. Same exact fuel pump for a reason. Other issue is my drive shaft speed sensor is right here. Well, kind of, half of it's right here. But I don't have the ring to put it on, because you need a special ring because there's a little bit more girth on the yoke here. So I need a bigger ring to mount it and to pick up from. So that's a thing. Not too big of a deal, but lower it down, adjust my front end travel limiters because I got a little bit more space here than over here. It's about the same, but they need to be tightened up a little bit. They're really hard to get perfectly tight, but definitely need to do that. And then I can clean up in here and get this thing freaking on the move to testing. I have a race in 2 weeks like I talked about, so I am in need of some testing beforehand, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm pretty sure just a slight gear change and a bar angle change shouldn't affect it too much. But we may have trouble in the 60 foot. So we may have to pull some power out of it, pull some leave RPM out of it. Shouldn't be a big issue, but if we can get it to 60 foot a little harder and then throw the power back into it, that would be awesome. Instead of having to leave on everything and just motor on down track, that would be a huge benefit to us. But time to clean up in here, finish off this deal. I'm pumped. Here's a little tip that I've always liked and always have done on a few cars. Chip has a bunch of them. This car had some, but they kind of disappear over time. But under the car, stickers. So I film under the car pretty frequently. So why not put advertising under the car? Then you see it in videos. The Quick Performance got me hooked up on this deal here, and it's a Midwest chassis 9-inch. Great unit. I just filled it up. And so we got the stickers here, and then when you're under the car, you know, you got some more stickers all around. There's not too many on this car. There's a ton on Chip, but this car is a little sparse. And I did it on Leroy. I was the one that started putting them on Leroy when we were doing that, because that car was always up on a lift. It was like, hey, might as well just display them right here. And it didn't have much other display room, so it's kind of what it is. Another thing that I learned is I need an alignment pretty desperately. So you can see this tire, that is like straight on. You can see almost all of it. It is super towed out. And then this one is straight, not towed out. So need an alignment. Need to just bring this in. Maybe I can just adjust my my steering deal here. Just fix that on my own. Probably don't need an alignment rack, but it is what it is, you know? Probably from coming down from a kind of a hard wheelie at TX2K. Probably didn't help. So I didn't really explain super well what the gearing is hopefully gonna do. I don't believe I did. So it should help the 60 foot a little bit. It should help me get through first gear a little bit faster, and then it should help second gear accelerate. If you guys saw in my last video, second gear kind of just lays flat the whole time. From the shift on, it doesn't really accelerate. It doesn't gain any RPM or anything. It's just like people always think I'm just like driving through my converter, or the converter's slipping or something along those lines. But it's just, it doesn't have the gear to kind of get it to go. I could explain better, but I'm not smart enough to explain it better. Very simply put, it should help us accelerate through the power band a lot better. Try to get the RPM to climb back up, because once it shifts, it drops and it never climbs back up. So we're hoping that it'll climb back up. So all done in here. It's not leaking yet, but it does need some heat cycles through it. So we'll get to that soon enough. And we should be pretty good to go. Super pumped to have this thing back together. And the bar angle should help us leave a little harder. That's the goal. 60 foot a little better, and try to, you know, get it to drive out a little better. The front travel limiters, I towed in this tire a little bit. I'll measure it once it's on the ground. 2 tape measures, one on the front, one on the back of each tire, and you can tell pretty easily how your toe's looking with the steering wheel straight. Very simple to do a makeshift alignment, even if you don't have a toe plates or anything. It would be nice to have toe plates, but I ain't got them. So Time to clean up the rest of this in here and then put the tires back on, and she's good to go. So I am super pumped. Can't wait to get this thing to the track. Hopefully by the end of this week we can. Oh, and I did want to touch on the fact that there is less videos on this channel. I have focused a lot of my attention on the podcast channel. That is a lot of fun, and it's good for these like kind of more in-between videos. I don't want to put out too much content on this channel that isn't racing and isn't working on the car, so I'm trying to streamline everything. So that channel has podcast talking, and then Bronte has been posting some daily lifestyle vlog stuff on the Bogetti Bunch channel, and then this channel will be cars and racing. So trying to streamline all the channels together, whatever kind of content you like. Hopefully we can provide it to you, because we like making content and filming videos, hanging out with our friends and that kind of stuff. And I love the podcast stuff. Super fun, super entertaining. You guys seem to like it. There's been a lot of podcasts lately and a lot of episodes to come, but I hope that that's kind of my filler in a way, and then the racing can just be racing and car building here. So that's the goal. Hopefully in the next 6 months to a year, I can kind of figure out how to mold all that together and make it a very streamlined, good process. But for now, that's what you guys have to look forward to. So thank you guys so much for watching. Keep it saucy. I'll see you next time.